Welcome to the PLL on ESPN, powered by Ticketmaster. Today, the Washington Monument and the entire District of Columbia serving as the backdrop for our semifinal action in the PLL. The Cash App Trophy on the line. Waterdogs and Whipsnakes. It's Michael Sowers. It's Matt Rambo. The superstars are here at Audi Field in Washington, D.C. Take a look at our Cash App playoff bracket, and then there were four. We started with 8. 7 teams made the playoffs. Last week's quarterfinals had Chaos advancing, Archers advancing, and Waterdogs to face the Whipsnakes, who got a bye as the #1 overall seed. Hi, everybody. Alongside Paul Carcaterra and Ryan Boyle, I'm Chris Cotter. Well, now we got 4 teams, 2 semifinal games today. And Ryan, this is a rubber match between the Whipsnakes and the Waterdogs. They faced each other twice during the regular season.
Waterdogs, the only team to beat the Whipsnakes in the regular season. Both those games were 1-goal games. For the Waterdogs, 2 things. Can they win faceoffs, and can they get out and run in transition? Whipsnakes want to play 6-on-6.
Look, I think the Waterdogs have a Herculean effort in front of them. The Whipsnakes have the best defense in the league. They also have Mr. Clutch, the best player in PLL playoff history in Matt Rambo. He's got ice in his veins. He loves one-on-one matchups. He's a big, hefty lefty that looks for confrontation from a dodging perspective, but he also can feed the rock and get this offense spinning.
Dana Boyle is the 4th member of our crew. She's standing by with Matt Rambo.
Thanks, Cotter. Matt Rambo, you've made it really clear that you guys are chasing a championship. You've been here before as a franchise. What approach are you taking this afternoon against the Dogs?
Yeah, we're just going to focus on ourselves today, do the little things right, ground balls, hit singles, and hopefully we can come on top. I think if we do the little things, it can go great in our way.
You've got a great relationship with Zed. You guys room together off the field. How does that help you with your confidence in a game like this?
It takes a lot of pressure off me on the big right side. We're big bodies down low, so having him, he's one of the best. He's one of my best friends. He gives me confidence when I'm down or when I'm up. He's always pumping me up, so it's always great to have Zed on my side.
I would agree. Go get him out there.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cotter?
Thank you, Dana. Whipsnakes lineup powered by Ticketmaster.
Yeah, Matt Rambo's a Maryland Terp. This whole defense, 8 miles down the road, they played for John Tillman. They are in sync. You look at the midfield. Top 5, top 6 midfield scorers in the league, and Brad Smith and Mike Chanichuk can stretch a defense from deep. Talked about Rambo. You heard about Zed Williams. Jay Carlson occupies the inside, can get those layup-type goals.
RB, Kieran McCardle, 9th year as a professional lacrosse player, has yet to win a championship.
Yeah, he's got revenge on his mind, making that championship game, avenging last season's semifinal loss to Whipsnakes. All he did this season was lead the league in assists. He is one of the quarterbacks behind the cage, along with Michael Sowers, distributing the ball off of a dodge or in the extra man. When they're on defense, look for Ben Randall. He's going to be the matchup on Matt Rambo. That is a heavyweight one to watch. In the midfield, Connor Kelly, he stretches the field. Zach Courier is the Swiss Army knife. He does a little bit of everything at an extremely high level. And with the attack, Michael Sowers, 8 points against the Whipsnakes in their 2 games this year. Do the Whipsnakes have a matchup? Do they have a defender that can cover his quickness?
Waterdogs lineup powered by Ticketmaster. How about Kyle Bernlor in goal? Led the league in save percentage, the goalie of the year this year in the PLL.
Yeah, and he bounced back. He had a tough statistical year in 2021, answered the bell in 22. In this defense, they all speak the same language. They all went to the same college, as I mentioned earlier. Watch out.
Now the Canadian Dylan Ward, he's been hot of late too in goal for the Waterdogs.
Yeah, you look at that save percentage, that really kind of belies his overall impact on this defense. He's an incredible leader, organizer, and communicator.
Yeah, you got to move the big guy too. He takes up so much of the cage.
Getting ready to face it off. This is going to be one of those matchups within the matchup that we got to keep an eye on. Joe Nardella, 65% or thereabouts on the season, and Jake Withers, only about 47%. So this is an area that you would think Nardella would get the nod, but Withers had a great quarterfinal matchup against Baptiste where he held his own about 50-50. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we're underway in this first semifinal today from DC. Battle for the loose ball. Whipsnakes in orange, Waterdogs in purple. Waterdogs first possession of the day.
Where the Waterdogs can neutralize Nardella, statistically second best at the stripe. They have the wings. They have the ground ball guys like Zach Courier with the ball right now. if the ball is on the grass, the purple guys will be all over it.
Shot from the outside by Mikey Schlosser. This is a team, the Waterdogs, they will fire it from distance, not afraid to shoot from beyond that two-point arc. Sowers, look at the speed and quickness. Had his defender hung up, trying to roll back and scores!
Great early start there for the Waterdogs. You wonder, did the Whipsnakes have somebody that could match up with Sowers' quickness? Instead, he uses the physicality to gain some leverage there.
Michael, you happen to be the quickest player in the league for my money. Against this Whipsnake defense, what's the recipe in terms of getting your dodging game going?
You know, they're so buttoned out with their system. Sometimes you just, have to put your head down, make a play one-on-one, and I was fortunate enough to do it there.
Thank you, Michael.
Sun Chlorella powering athletes under the helmet all weekend long. 1-0 Waterdogs on top. Nardella back to his wingman. Possession to the Whipsnakes. Whipsnakes won the first 2 championships in PLL history. Last year made it to the championship game before Andy Towers' Chaos team got the better of him. We'll see Chaos in game 2 of this semifinal against the Archers.
And Clark talked about the wing play for Waterdogs. Meanwhile, Whipsnakes, all they do is trot out Michael Earhart, the best long stick midfielder in the world.
Chanenchuk fires. Ward was there all over it.
It's a great point. We talk about at the stripe with Withers and Nardella. The matchup that might be equally as important today is Earhart, the best long stick midfielder in the game, against Zach Currier, who's the best ground ball player in the universe.
Oh, big collision at midfield. Waterdogs keep possession. Here's Currier, the aforementioned Swiss Army knife, coming out of the box. Waterdogs looking to move quickly. Now Sowers on the wing. Over to Hannah. Rookie out of Denver, really come onto the scene. Speaking of Denver, there's another one, another pioneer, 57, Ethan Walker. Hannah looking to dodge, got under his defender, bounce shot. Couldn't get much on it. Possession stays with Kieran McCardle and the Waterdogs. McCardle will use a Walker pick. He's wide open in the middle of the field. That shot deflected over into the crowd.
And it looks like Burnward got a piece of that, so they'll get a reset and a fresh 52 on the shot clock.
6 in purple, McCardle. You could tell by this early offensive possession, they're playing him as a passer.
Far side, nothing doing. Warner, outstanding short stick D, midi number 5 for the Whipsnakes. Currier. Still plenty of time, 25 on the shot clock. McCardle on Warner. He'll look to dodge. Got the shorty, so he wants to take advantage of it. Got his head up, as he always does. Leads the league in assists. Extra pass on the far side, but Walker couldn't get a shot off, and it's a turnover.
And it was an incredible defensive stand there by Whipsnakes. Multiple possessions, multiple defensive rotations on that lone possession there.
There's Brad Smith having a renaissance season himself in that midfield, 27 for Whipsnakes. Buddy might fire from outside. Try to get it to Chanenchuk, and it's passed a little high. Whipsnakes a little off kilter offensively.
They are, but wow. The Waterdogs have this offensive possession. One thing I've seen in these first couple of possessions is Kieran McCardle, you mentioned, leads the league in assists. I think they are daring 6 in purple to try to beat them as a playmaking dodger. They want him to have to beat the defense and not have that passing game part of this Waterdogs offense.
Here's Conrad. They'll come at you in waves from the midfield, this Waterdogs team. Well, they like to run. Tough angle shot. McCardle will take it. It's too high. Battle for the ball at the end line, and it's won by Waterdogs, although that was close. Looks like Matt Dunn was right there with it, but it stays with Waterdogs in purple, and Sowers will put it into play.
Yeah, closest to where the ball went out on the end line. I thought Dunn was closer to the spot of the ball there.
Sowers, look at the quickness, and he gets his second of the game.
they don't have a guy that can keep up with his quickness. 8 points, Clark, in 2 games this season. He's already got 2 today.
100%. You know what the scary thing, too, is? He's dodging in tight quarters. So as he goes to the cage right now, both goals are right by the crease area. Michael Sowers, outside in terms of space, is the most dangerous player in the league with his quickness. He's beating them at the goal line, a contact spot.
Well, here you can see he launches before goal line extended. So he actually launches before he gets to the goal, increases his angle, and while he's in flight, he's able to execute multiple fakes before dunking it.
He should flex. He's about 5'9", 170, and he's beating a big, strong Whipsnakes defense that is physical at their strength.
Earhart gobbles up that ground ball in the middle of the field off the faceoff. Let's see if the Whipsnakes can get something together here, 6-on-6. It's been 1 weak shot and 1 turnover so far in their 2 possessions. Smith. Substitutions coming into the box, out of the box. Matty Palem, our referee on the day, just avoiding that pass. Tough angle, Rambo hits the pipe. He'll chase after it, and he'll win that battle at the sideline. Stays with the Whipsnakes.
And those picks along goal line extended for Rambo and Williams. That was a huge area of focus for Waterdogs when I went to their practice. They're going to play those differently depending on the spacing and width of the field.
Big matchup right here. Randall went to Ohio State, played against Matt Rambo from Maryland in Big Ten play in college. He's familiar with this matchup. He knows Rambo wants his left hand.
Rambo led the league in shots taken, and you can see when he wants the ball in his cross, he's going to let it fire. Dana Boyle, what's going on?
See, we were at practice yesterday, and the Waterdogs, they want to force their chest to the end lines. They want to get the ball through X, because that is not supposed to happen.
Good call on that, Dana, and that did just happen. Whipsnakes on the board.
They want it to go to X because of the wing presence of Matt Rambo on the left and Zed Rambo on the right. So Zed Williams and Matt Rambo give you a combination from a physicality perspective that they could beat double teams, fight through contact, and find the inside seams. Rambo the lefty, Williams the righty, Whips are on the board.
PLL on ESPN is brought to you in part by Events DC. First quarter action, 2-1. Waterdogs on top of Whipsnakes. Friday night, you hosted the awards ceremony, didn't you?
It was a beautiful evening. You can see the award winners right there. But awesome just celebrating the king of kings, the best in class.
Like this guy right here. Be your own champion player spotlight brought to you by Champion. It's Michael Earhart, long stick midi.
Yeah, he's legendary. One of the best that's ever done it at the long stick midfield position. Helps revolutionizing the spot as a defender, but also a guy who initiates offense and gets everyone involved.
Yeah, Clark, I had a chance to talk with Michael Earhart this weekend. I loved what he said about the way that Coach Tillman, his college coach at Maryland, has instilled the defense that they play with on the field, and he loves that Coach Stagg has blended that. It really is a player-person-coach relationship, and that's what makes the PLL so special.
Another GB for Earhart. Get used to that today.
Yeah, with all 4 long stick defenders out there, when Earhart's the long stick midfielder to 3 close defenders, all from the University of Maryland. They speak the same language. They know where each other are at all times.
Rambo here has Randall hung up. Switches back, still question mark there with the left. Ward was right there to stop it.
And that's where you see Dylan Ward, that high arc. He steps out, he cuts down the shooting angle for Matt Rambo.
Waterdogs don't mind running. Witcher didn't have much, so he may pull it out and wait for substitutions, and he does.
They got to do 2 waves. The initial wave, then off the sub game. Waterdogs should have a little mini advantage right here as they win the race to the midfield line.
Scarpello off.
So they've trapped Mike Chanenchuk on defense. They'll go right at number 1.
They do. Bouncer into the mud. You can see how this field is. Field's actually in really good shape here at Audi Field, but it rained all day yesterday and this morning, so it is kind of muddy.
Yeah, and Kyle Bernlohr in the cage. He's so good on low shots. Like that top hand speed. He's a smaller goalie. I mean, the way that the goalie position is trending now, you got the bigger guys like Dylan Ward who take up so much of the cage. Bernlohr does it with cat-like quickness.
Whips thought about early offense. Instead, they break it back out to Chanenchuk.
They've got Mikey Schlosser trapped on defense. I would expect them to go at him, number 59 in purple behind the cage.
There's Conrad, Sue still on. Beaten easily by Chanenchuk, and he beats Ward.
You talk about the high crease. He got burned, RB.
You got to move the goalie. So if a guy's going to come out, you got to run past that, throw a kind of a hitch fake to get him off his line. I talked about Schlosser getting trapped. Chanenchuk goes right at Conrad. You can see Ward, he's at the crease. So super high arc, this extra step, so that way he can reach his stick around the goalkeeper.
There's 2 ways you beat a goalie who plays a high crease. Near pipe like that, or a pass across the field, because he's not in position. He's 2 steps away when he plays that high crease. The positive of playing a high crease, when you're shooting straight at him, there's no net to look at.
Big battle for the loose ball. Possession to Whipsnakes. Done. He could fire. Instead, he gets it to Zed. Head up looking for a cutter. Can't find anybody. So now Dunham with his long pole will sub off.
Do it right.
And those are the 50-50 ground balls that the Waterdogs won last week against Atlas and Baptiste, and they're not winning today.
It's a great point, because Nardella's going to win straight up clamps. He's the best in the league at winning after the clamp, the initial draw. So you have to get those ground balls if you're the Waterdogs.
Zed shoots. Ward is there, steers it aside.
Broken?
Might have an equipment issue here. Looked like
Got
Ward.
a broken clip.
Yeah, Ward took that one right off the noggin.
we
Helmet
cut?
did its job, but it broke.
We got to zip it up in about 20 seconds or use a timeout or sub them. How quick can we do it? All right, I like it.
Yeah, his sense of urgency.
I love that. Matty Palin, our referee today, mic'd up, so we'll get a chance to hear him throughout the course of the day.
Keep that game going,
Yeah.
right?
He's got a great relationship with these players and coaches. Of course, he himself was a former goalie at Syracuse.
It's the craziest position in sports, if you ask me. 95-mile-an-hour balls. Very little equipment. Helmet, chest protector,
They try
gloves.
and wear the least amount of equipment. Rambo knocks his defender down. Now he's on a short. He got inside on the crease. We're going to get a whistle, though. He stepped into the crease. That's a violation. It'll be a turnover.
The Waterdogs want to get out and run. They want to pick up this pace.
DiNapoli on that D-midi. Over to Walker. Now behind the cage to McCardell. Here's Sowers on Dunn. This is a great matchup. Dunn, 33 in orange, one of the top defensemen in the league. Sowers, that's a tough angle. Bernlohr may have got a piece of that one. Stays in the field of play, though, tracked down by Sowers.
You can see early Waterdogs really heavy focus on Michael Sowers with a pick on a short stick.
Kelly tried to get a shot off, and it just fell out of his cross. All the way to midfield. Out of bounds.
Still a shot.
Whipsnakes. Yeah, still a shot.
Liam Burns didn't hustle after that like it was a shot.
They ruled that Williams was there closest to it when it went out of bounds.
Yeah, closest, whether it's on the end line, the sideline, you have to acknowledge that if you're Liam Burns.
May not have realized that was a shot because it almost came out backwards from Connor Kelly's stick. Now Mikey Schlosser. Over to Kelly. Courier.
Let him move now, let him move. Make sure we let him move, Kirsty. Kirsty.
Earhart on him. Now he passes it off. Tim Muller. Schlosser. California kid. Loses his footing and loses stick. He may be hurt too. Out of bounds, the Whipsnakes. Schlosser's banged up a bit.
That's an incredible play, and we hope Schlosser's okay, by Jake Bernhardt, 83 in red. His brother Jared is on the active roster for the Atlanta Falcons.
That's crazy.
Tewaaraton winner in 2021. The Bernhardts empty the tank every single time they play. What a story, though, about Jared Bernhardt,
No
right?
question.
Just making his debut.
Too many snakes out. Come on now.
Made the team as a receiver, and he was playing quarterback when he was at Ferris State after he transferred from Maryland in his lacrosse days.
Yep, did not play football at Maryland, used his extra year of eligibility as a quarterback at Ferris State. Played the wide receiver position since May and made the active roster. That's not what you want if you're a Waterdogs fan. I mean, he's been the best player on the field so far, RB.
So, yeah, you got an issue now with Schlosser limping off and Sowers.
And in the previous games between Whipsnakes and Waterdogs, Whipsnakes have taken advantage of some Waterdogs injuries. Their first game, Withers got injured, Sabia got injured. They played two men down. Dylan Ward in their second game broke his thumb during the game.
Yes.
Right.
They had a win in Fairfield, Connecticut, playing multiple people down. And this is a gritty squad, different stage in the playoffs.
Final minute of this first quarter, all knotted up. Williams. Ward goes down and makes that save. Loose ball in front, picked up by Carlson. So Whipsnake still with possession and a new shot clock. You can wind this thing all the way down. Rambo. Cutter inside. Just too high, Brian Cole.
Game clock under shot. Game clock under shot.
Double team comes. Rambo tries to run away from it. Finds somebody inside. That shot just goes wide.
Rambo's dealing today.
Yeah.
He's made some outstanding passes that teammates have to can.
Jackson Reed, who's a really good indoor player, used to play it in space, just missed the target there. Inside of 10 seconds. Zed has the ball taken away from him. Beautifully defensive by Liam Burns. Horn sounds to end the first quarter of play. Waterdogs got on the board with two early from Michael Sowers. Whipsnakes and Coach Staggs bounced back with two themselves. We're all knotted up at two apiece. First semifinal action from DC as we start the second quarter after this message and a word from our ABC station.
PLL Academy connects the best players in the world to the next generation for one-of-a-kind immersive lacrosse training. Meet, interact, and train with your favorite pro at PLL Academy events across the country. Learn more about our overnight camps, clinics, and additional offerings at premierlacrosseleague.com/academy.
Next Sunday, our two winners today will battle for the PLL Championship from Subaru Park in Philadelphia. Our coverage begins at 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific on ABC, ESPN+, and of course streaming on the ESPN app. Dana Boyle, what's going on down there with the Waterdogs?
Yeah, we got a lot of injury updates for you. I just saw Sowers walk on the field, Coach, but what can you tell us about the status of Schlosser?
It sounds like Schlosser's unfortunately out. We just got the official word. Sauer's not 100%, but he's out there right now, so we'll just keep an eye on it and ask other guys to step up.
With a 19-person bench, what kind of challenge does that present for you?
You know, we've been here 2 other times during the regular season, which is kind of wild. We've played with 15, 16 field players, so we've kind of been battle-tested on that front and just have to find a way.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
I did the Waterdogs game against Chrome in Fairfield, Connecticut. They were down to 14 guys. You talk about a team that can battle. It was 110 degrees on the turf that day. This condition, way more conducive playing with less guys.
Speaking of battling, look at Nardella chasing without a glove. Lost the glove on the face-off. It's right here in the middle of the field. Balem's chasing it down, but Nardella's like, I ain't leaving the pitch. Got work to do. Possession of Waterdogs.
And Clark, to build on your point, they built this roster with positional flexibility in mind. So to that point, they're better suited if a guy goes down because they've got other guys that can flex between 2 spots.
Courier working on Warner. Trying to get free in the middle of the field. Now look at all the help that comes defensively, and they get rid of it. 5 different Whipsnakes came to help out, caused a turnover. And there's another turnover. Warner wasn't even looking for the pass. And we go the other way with Randall.
They've got a trailer.
That trailer is Conrad.
You talk about a defense in sync. You saw that double, triple, quadruple team on Zach Courier. That's a team that understands their strength, communicating defensively on time slides.
Bernlohr got a piece of that one, steers it wide, reset the shot clock.
Not hearing great things about your exit from the field. What happened? All right, clean this corner for me. Thanks.
Conrad cut, couldn't get the ball. Dana Boyle, what's going on?
I just heard from the athletic trainer, Mikey is out with a lower extremity for the rest of the game. They got to further evaluate him, but he will not be back on the field this afternoon.
We saw him getting iced up. There's a shot and goal by Whipsnakes. That's Connor Kurse. Scored plenty of goals in his college days at Rutgers. Now he finds the back of the net here as a defensive midfielder for the Snakes.
They moved him to short stick D-midi so they could get out and get a little bit more juice in their transition game. You can see as they push the ball down, Kurse is going to flash to the middle. Right there, that little cut exposes the weak spot in the defense. Kind of sits down, good catch, changes planes there, going low to high on Ward. Tried to react, but too much on it.
The beauty of having a player like Connor Kurse, you talk about flexibility within a lineup. This is flexibility. He was a big-time goal scorer in 2021 for Rutgers. A guy that loved to hit the back of the net. He's athletic enough to play defense, but stay on offensively to give you that exact scenario.
Nardella a little too quick on the whistle, face-off violation, first of the half. Napoli trying to break down Ward, his counterpart, as a D-midi. Kelly got back to his right hand. Here's Sowers back in the game. Look at that tough angle. Sly, how he came up from goal line extended, almost deking that Whipsnake defense. Puts it in the back of the net. He's got a hat trick already.
And incredible patience on this. You're going to see him catch the ball after a little bit of a defensive rotation. Head up, so they're looking, okay, he's a feeder. Nope, I'm going to just bury this.
Michael, another beautiful low-angle goal, but first tell us about your health. Why did you have to leave the field earlier?
Tweaked my hammy a little bit, something that I've been dealing with for the last couple of weeks, but, you know, it's playoff lacrosse, win or go home, so, you know, we got a great training staff that helps me get ready and yeah, do what I can to help us get a win.
All 3 of your goals, low-angle shots. Where are the seams in this defense?
You know, I think they hedge up off the base, so when we kick it forward like that, we usually have an advantage out the backside, and they haven't been coming. They kind of bait us into taking those low ankle shots. So that's where we're going to have to make our money. We're going to score here.
Under the helmet, powered by Sun Chlorella. Got that hamstring, got to keep an eye on that. Not overly hot here today in DC, but very humid. And a lot of rain yesterday, last night. It's holding off so far today, but it is a very humid day. Now all knotted up at 3 again. Out of the box, Chuck just let it rip. Low shot, hoping to maybe get a little skip on that wet turf. Didn't fool Ward, though.
It looked like the turf almost kind of deadened that ball a little bit. Chuck loves those high bouncers.
Kelly, he'll shoot from 2. Now look at Bernlohr going down again. He might go the other way quickly. Both goalies making saves and quick outlet passes. Flag down. This will be a delayed call against Waterdogs. We'll get our first power play opportunity of the day.
Yeah, they're offside, so they have an extra defender. You're going to see him, Scarpella. He'll just sit right in front of the crease and be a free double team.
See Ward pushing him out, getting him where he wanted to be. Now Randall is in front of Ward, trying to deal with Chuck. High shot. We'll get the call.
Fouls on Waterdogs. Waterdogs number 40, 30-second technical, offsides.
Matty Palin with the call, offsides. 30-second power play opportunity for the Whipsnakes.
Counter, Kelly serves. Kelly serves. Kelly serves.
This is where you got to be mindful of number 32, Jay Carlson.
We're good. We're good.
He'll play that inside crease spot.
There's Carlson outside now on the wing, starting this power play. The 32.
He won't stay there.
Now he goes down low, shot wide.
And Waterdogs actually used their short stick to shut off a player. Witcher went and shut off Smith. Now he's back in the defensive rotation. Let's see if he jumps him again.
Rambo tried to get something quickly, and he just left before he got the pass. Like a receiver trying to run before he makes the catch. Turnover, that's costly. This Waterdogs will be able to run this power play down.
And I love the shutoff strategy on just 30-second penalties, because sometimes it takes the offense a second to figure out, like, hey, what's going on here? Oh, we're shut. What's our adjustment? And by that time, it's like there's not enough juice left on that penalty.
No juice left on that penalty now. Back to even strength. Walker has it deflected.
You see the range of Earhart, right? Like, he is a condor. 6'5", but his reach to knock down passes is unbelievable. 28 in red is on.
Got that chaos started, which eventually led to the turnover. Now we're going the other way. Earhart, 83, or Bernhardt, I should say, staying on the field. Short stick D midi. Maybe set a pick for Rambo.
Got the rookie Hannah trapped on defense.
Chuck. Up to Bernhardt. Over to Cole. Behind his head, quickly in front, goal!
32, the inside man, Jay Carlson. Been in and out of the lineup. Sometimes they try to find more of a dodging presence. Don't underestimate a guy who owns the inside. Like a basketball player in the paint. You feed him inside, he makes it rain. Zed Williams, Jay Carlson. The Whips have 2 PLL championships under their belt. They're looking for a third. The Waterdogs giving them everything they got.
4-3 our score, 6:42 left to go in the second quarter. Game number 1 of our doubleheader here, halftime. Katie George is here with us. She's going to be joined by Paul Ray. We'll talk about the first half. We'll preview the second game of our doubleheader. That's Chaos and Archers. And a preview of Fate of a Sport, now streaming on ESPN+. Get a good look at Andy Copeland, head coach of Waterdogs. We talked about at the top, too. It's Stagnita, the head coach of the Whipsnakes. Huge Maryland flavor on this team. I mean, the whole team is from the University of Maryland.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You look at the depth of Maryland lacrosse alumni. I equate it to Alabama football. Nick Saban churning out the pros. Well, John Tillman's doing that for lacrosse. He's in attendance today, too. I spoke to him earlier, supporting his Whipsnakes. You know, the way that he coaches, the way that he implements his system, I'm not shocked they're great pros.
Well, and on top of that, you look at defensively, that's really the secret sauce of this Whipsnakes. Bryce Young, Tim Muller, and Matt Dunn. They have started every game in close defense for the entirety of the Whipsnakes history.
And their goalie, their quarterback from the back end, Kyle Bernlohr, was a John Tillman, Maryland defensive star.
And even when he struggled last season, who's the backup? Brian Phipps, another Terp.
Courier, as he does so often, ground ball in the middle of the field. Now it's loose, though. Battle for it, won by the Dogs, and we're going to get a timeout here. Coach Copeland
I thought his foot was there and your stick moved there.
wants to save that possession.
Okay. You got it, okay.
Our two face-off men with a few words for each other, too. They're battling as everybody is here today. Whips up by a goal.
Hey, Dana, can you find out where Tills is sitting? Because we were just talking about him.
Yes.
Can you maybe just give him a quick call or something? Thanks.
Yep.
A little bit of an offensive rhythm right now, which we haven't really gotten into here, okay? So, a lot of singles, V-cuts, good fundamentals here, confident possession here. 0-1-3, 1-2-3.
4-3 our score. Timeout on the field. Coach Copeland wanted to get that TEO to save possession. Now having a word with the officials.
Might have got to it a hair late. But no, everything's fine. Good, thank you.
Got our coaches both mic'd up, both Stags and Copeland today.
I'm tougher than both of you. Stay with it.
Matty Palem, head ref. Tougher than both of you.
Matty Palem will
Dogs here. I got it, Joshua.
he'll share a word or two with us throughout the day. Glad to have him mic'd up. Oh, we got a second. I want to remind you about the World Lacrosse Championship. It's coming next summer, June 21st through July 1st. San Diego, California. More than 100 games on ESPN+, 6 games on either ESPN or ESPN2 or ESPNU. We were in Netanya 4 years ago, and it'll be 5 years between World Championships, Paul, but I'm really looking forward to San Diego next summer.
Of course you are.
We had a blast in Netanya. You and I and Q. Anish was out there with us.
A lot of memories.
Oh, my God. Great lacrosse, too. You know the Canadians are they've just been stewing on that last second loss to Team USA in Netanya. Long shot, Ward. He was the goalie on that Canadian team. Makes the save.
Didn't love that take by Earhart, kind of low angle.
Walker. Oh, hits the far corner.
Hammer time, Ryan.
Wow.
And this starts with the Dylan Ward save. You know, can the Waterdogs get out in transition? How do you do that? Cause turnovers and clean saves. Didn't love the decision by Earhart, and on one end, Dylan Ward comes up with his big stop on the 2. That allows the Waterdogs to get out and run. You can see Ethan Walker, sharp angle there, and he nails the corner.
We talk about the high crease of Dylan Ward, how he takes a couple steps out. That's where you benefit from the high crease. And if you talk to Andy Copeland, the head coach of the Waterdogs, they want to run. That's exactly what they want to do against a seasoned defense that's great in the half field.
And they spread out the scoring, too. 7 players now on the season with double-digit goals. Everybody eats for the Waterdogs, and they got it knotted up at 4.
I think they're going to get Burns leaving the arc before anybody had gained possession. So that violation will give the ball to the Whipsnakes.
Rambo will put it in play. Former Tualatin winner is the best college lacrosse player when he was at Maryland. Also the league MVP here in the PLL in 2019. Won a national championship at Maryland, breaking a long drought. Highly decorated lacrosse player. Zed. Janenchuk looking for a cutter. Found one in Cole, but he couldn't get the pass. Loose ball going to be tracked down by the Dogs. Goldbricht. Had an open look if he wanted to take it, opted not to.
And he had Reese for a moment there, but Cole sprinted back on defense to eliminate that 2-point threat. Reese is so dangerous in transition.
Yeah, he gives you a little of Earhart, right? Those two long stick midfielders in the middle of the field are offensive threats.
Neutralizing an offensive threat there. McCardle gets it taken away.
The Whipsnakes double teams have been timed to perfection, right? Anytime a Waterdogs offensive player turns their back, there's a double.
Smith. Tough pass inside. Can't get it to work.
Early force there.
Look, that look by Sabio. Trying to get it to Randall. Will he shoot? No, instead he tries to get it down low, but it's deflected. Right on the end line, out of bounds. It's going to be Waterdogs ball.
And that was a huge deflection, because if that pass had gotten through, Sowers was right on the doorstep for a shot, or he had a cross-crease feed.
Wait for him. Do it right, guys. Don't go early. Do it right. I'm watching.
All right, Palin's watching. Kelly cutting down the alley. Save. That would have been a terrible turnover. Instead, it's saved, though. Waterdogs still have it. Under 20 to shoot, though. Courier's got to make something happen. Oh, it's McCardle and the double team again, Kark.
The doubles have been timed so well, but I feel like McCardle on that last possession and then this one is almost rolling into pressure, right? He doesn't feel comfortable.
You got to know that double team is coming anytime you turn your back. So you almost want to roll and then get away from pressure, anticipating that double team coming.
Timeout on the field. Stags wants to talk things over. Under 3 minutes to play in this first half. We're all tied at 4.
Defense trained by John Tillman. Maryland driven. Bryce Young, Tim Muller, they're in sync. They played in college together. And Dana Boyle is with the master of that defense.
Thanks, Kark. It's the house that Coach Tillman built. So you've had a chance to watch. I saw you all the way up in the rafters. What do you take of the defensive effort here you've seen?
I think the guys are playing hard. I think it's really tough with the conditions, not only offensively trying to keep your feet, but also defensively. Guys are slipping and sliding, so kind of a tricky course, and especially with Sowers out there. He's such a quick guy and really tremendous player.
On the offensive end, Matt Rambo, he's a special player. What do you take of his play?
Matt is great. He's such a competitor. You know what you're going to get from Matt. He's going to battle for 4 quarters, and he knows what's at stake. And usually, the bigger the game, the better he plays.
All right, I gave you a hard time for your shirt because I'm a Patriots fan, but Bernhardt, that's a special story. What was it like getting to coach him?
Just special. Just one of those guys that works so hard, high character. We're following him today. I know Jesse, his brother's down at the game, is down at his game, and I'm here to support Jake and all the other guys. So we're fired up for Jared. Really proud of him. You know, he's going to do great things regardless of what he does on and off the field.
Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tills. Appreciate that. Thank you, Dana. Falcon shirt, of course. Everybody in the Maryland lacrosse program extremely proud of just the fact that Bernhardt is even playing in the NFL. It's almost a miracle.
When we cover college football, there's 5 stars and first-round draft picks that don't make the 53-man roster.
Dudes that are 6'3", 220 pounds and run a 4.40 and just can't seem to find and make it work. It's just hard work that paid off for Bernhardt. Cole behind the back. Just deflected aside by Ward.
Beautifully designed play there.
Brad Smith passed to nobody as he wanted to get a cutter and couldn't find one.
If you look at the 6-on-6 sets, I think the Whipsnakes need to be aggressive, forcing the inside. There's a lot of floating going around on the Waterdogs defense. This is a unit that's allowed the second most goals per game in the league. I think assisted goals and the passing for the Whipsnakes will determine the outcome of this game.
And you saw that earlier in the year. Jake Carlson had 5 goals in their Week 2 matchup. They've really struggled against him specifically.
Hannah on the wing. Nice job defensively to initially knock it away by Earhart. Connor Kelly, another Maryland Terrapin, this time in purple.
They've got numbers here if they want to run. They've got numbers.
Earhart's near side. Bernhardt shoots, scores! Well, his brother playing football will be happy to hear the news that his brother has found the back of the net in this semifinal game.
Credit Bernhardt for pushing the ball in transition. There's also the gravity that Earhart brings. You're going to see as Bernhardt goes upfield, no one stops ball because they're worried about Earhart kind of floating behind the scenes.
Spot on, and you have to be, because Earhart has the 4th most points for a defensive player in the league, and he's a threat from 20 yards out with the 6-foot pole. So they decide, the Waterdogs, to say, Earhart's more of the threat than the guy with the ball, and he makes him pay.
Oh my God, yeah, because the rest of them are here.
Withers and Nardella continue their battle. Nardella loses his footing. Was he pushed? He was. Got a hold on it. Nardella now coming out of there with the ball in a little bit of trouble, but he'll get to a teammate. Clock ticking toward a minute left to go in the first half of our first semifinal game today from DC. Whipsnakes have won 2 of the first 3 championships in the history of the PLL. Waterdogs looking for their first. After they were regular season champions last year and then ousted in the playoffs. Said he'll take a jump shot and score. A lot of power behind that shot.
That's what 6'3", 240 pounds looks like.
This is signature Whipsnakes offense. We're going to get this dodge down the side, freeze it right here on this reversal. I want you to focus in on Jake Carlson. He's right here. He's going to come over and set a pick. So as this ball swings across to Williams, he's going to then catch and quickly re-attack. So they love swinging it across. Here's this slam pick by Carlson. That gets the matchup they want. Late recovery there by DiNapoli. Williams gets upfield.
He just shows you the strength. And I told you during the break, even when Carlson isn't scoring, he's making the right inside plays, the off-ball plays. 32 in red is so critical in terms of the spacing of this offense for the Whipsnakes.
Withers wins the draw. His 5th and 12 attempts. Courier does a nice job to keep possession. Now the Dogs will set up 6-on-6. Final minute of this first half.
Okay, good. Dogs, clean that box. Connor Kelly, clean that box.
Sowers. Ricardo, check that. Now over to Courier. Hannah. Bouncer. Bernlor got just enough of it. Now he looks to go quickly the other way. Still got 15 seconds. Earhart gets it to Rambo. To Earhart. Gets a shot off. Ward is there to make the save. Dylan Ward on the defensive end, saving what was an outstanding scoring opportunity for Michael Earhart.
The Whips are running. We thought the Waterdogs were going to run.
You got to run on a runner. You got to take advantage of those opportunities when they emerge. Whipsnakes a couple goals in transition. Waterdogs only really one I could think of.
Dana Boyle down on the field with Coach Staggs.
Thanks, Cotter. You're a little frustrated in the first quarter, but the second quarter, I saw you tapping up some guys. What did you see there offensively?
Well, we haven't played in 3 weeks, right? We practiced. We had a good practice. I think we had to get used to the game speed. You know, I think that we're forcing some things. So we just got to slow down a little bit, play a little bit more 6-on-6, although we're getting some opportunities. Our defense has really been tough, the whole first half. And we got to finish our shots. I think we're getting some good looks. We got to put the ball in the cage. I think we could take a little more time when we finish.
Carlson is one of those players that's finishing their shots, but he's also creating on the offensive end. What kind of dynamic does he bring to this team?
Well, look, for a long time, teams were shorting him, and when we weren't able to take advantage of it, and Jay's really worked hard on that. He's setting picks, and what he's done that I don't know if people notice, he's made 2 great plays on rides where he's created some loose ball opportunities. He does so much for us. He plays so hard. He makes other people better.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Good luck.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Coach. DB, appreciate it. Halftime coming up. Paul Rabel is going to join Katie George, talk about the first half. There they are, getting set. Preview of Chaos and Archers. That's game 2 of our doubleheader. Hey, Katie. Hey, Paul. We'll see you all in a little bit. Plus, talk about Paul's film that you can now see streaming on ESPN+. Fate of a Sport. We're at the half here in D.C. 6-4, Whipsnakes on top. Winner goes to the championship game next week in Philadelphia. Halftime after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Now you can. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, cool.
Okay, TJ, so coming back with score, are we going straight into career map? Okay, cool. Perfect, okay. Get his first thoughts, then we'll go to the highlights. I have the, outperformers presented by OutSystems. Kirst and Sowers, so Sowers first, then
Kirst on transition, he scored.
Okay.
Delayed transition, so we'll talk about that. And
Okay.
then Sowers has 3. And you're going to show the one where he leaves Matt Dunn in the dust. Todd? The Sowers highlight is from X when he goes left to right and Dunn goes in the other direction. He dives and kind of pump fakes in the air. Is that the one you're going to show? That's the best one, ideally.
I think we need a light on us. We look very dark. Do we have a light? A light? We're pretty dark on here, at least. We're dark on here. I don't know if it looks better in the truck or not. Yeah, let's see it. Championships here today. And I am joined by a very special guest, the PLL co-founder and president, Paul Rabel. And he knows these parts very, very well. The Northeast is your favorite place, is it not?
I have a special
possibly?
place. Special place in my heart.
He went to DeMatha High School, 2-time All-American. Then he went on to Johns Hopkins University. 3-time first-team All-American and a 2-time national champion. And then he started his illustrious professional career from 2008 to 2021. All-time pro lacrosse points leader with 657. And he's here with me now. Do we want to talk about that high school look a little bit, or do we feel good about it?
I felt pretty good about it. Yeah,
the long hair
I had some
was
bangs,
in.
Yeah.
The long hair was in.
I will say it's especially nostalgic to be here, not just growing up outside of DC, but here on 9/11, and just want to recognize everyone throughout this country who had to deal with not only the tragic events all over the country, but we're remembering you all today.
Absolutely, well said. I want to get your thoughts. What did you think of the first half quickly?
Well, I think the Whips really made a run. It was the run we were expecting, but heading into this, I knew it was going to be low scoring for 2 reasons: the weather and the intensity of the semifinal. But both of these coaches are really disciplined in their strategy. I know they were scouting each other, and they know each other really well. So you're going to see a back and forth battle, maybe less of a chess match in the second half.
Sure. Well, let's take a look at our outperformers presented by OutSystems. Michael Sowers has been getting it done. He got a little banged up. We'll talk about the hamstring injury, but what do you see here?
I mean, look at that move right there on one of the best defenders in the world. His ability to change direction in the rain and score. He's got the first 3 goals.
Connor Kirst here.
Yeah, I think this is a big one here because the Waterdogs are great in transition, but it's been the Whips today. That's Kirst's goal, and then Bernhardt had one to close the second quarter.
Yeah, it felt like it was all Michael Sowers in the first half of the Waterdogs, and then it was more by committee for the Whipsnakes. Michael Sowers obviously hurt that hamstring. Mikey Schlosser is out for the game. How do the injuries kind of impact the Waterdogs moving forward?
Well, the good thing is the Waterdogs have a ton of talent. So you have Connor Kelly, you have Zach Courier, who could be one of the best players in the world at any moment. We haven't heard much from him. And then you have Kieran McCardle, who's second in the league in points. So I think all three of those guys can find their way, definitely one of them, and that'll make a big impact on the outcome of the second half.
We mentioned the by committee from the offense of the Whips. Defensively, they're doing a nice job getting back in transition, and they're flying up and down the field.
No question. It was very clearly a Jim Stagnita strategy. Do not let the Waterdogs create transitional offense against us. And then you have the best long stick midi in the world, Michael Earhart, 4-time best long stick midi, the Brody Merrill Award, and he's showing it in between the lines. He hasn't scored yet. When he does, that usually means the Whipsnakes win.
Well, these are the best players in the world, no doubt. We've got the best midfielder possibly in the world coming up in the second semifinal of the day between the Chaos and the Archers. What are you most looking forward to seeing in this matchup?
Well, I think it's that matchup right there. It's Tom Schreiber, best midfielder in the world, versus Blaze Reardon. Even though Kyle Bernlohr won the best goalie this season, Blaze Reardon saved 83% last weekend in the quarterfinals. It took the Chaos to their first win since a 2-8 start. But these two have a history. I don't see another goalie in the world who has a beat on Tom Schreiber's shot quite like Blaze. So I'm going to key in on this. The other thing is Andy Towers would much prefer Tom Schreiber have 4 goals than 5 assists. So expect Blaze Reardon to look down the gun of Tom Schreiber's right and left arm.
He's had a lot more success this year going against Blaze, that being Tom Schreiber. What is it about Schreiber's shot that Blaze is able to key on so well?
I think Blaze just studies tape better than anyone, and he has great instinct, and he also doesn't hitch. When we talk about goalies, they have a tendency to get baited in one direction or the other. Blaze sits calmly at the back of his crease, unlike Dylan Ward today that gets to the top of the crease to cut off angles. Blaze is the most patient goalie I've ever played against, and you need patience to get up over Tom Schreiber.
The Archers are looking to make it to their first PLL championship. The Chaos, the reigning PLL champions. They were 2-8 in the regular season.
Yeah.
What is it about the Chaos that they just turn it up a notch when it gets to the postseason?
Well, I think about confidence a ton. Yogi Berra famously said 90% of the game is half mental. What the hell does that mean? Well, the Chaos have figured out mentality and confidence. Every playoff, this is going to be their 3rd consecutive trip to the championship if they knock out the Archers for the 2nd consecutive year. These guys walk into the stadium as if they're 8-2, not 2-8. So credit to Andy Towers and his team.
Yeah, he does an excellent job. I love catching up with him. You have been mighty busy, not just attending every single weekend of games throughout the summer, but you have also been putting together a film, a documentary that aired on ESPN+. What has been the reception you have received from Fate of the Sport?
Humbly, people have enjoyed it. And in a contradictory way, I thought that I would become maybe more of a heel as an operating partner with my brother who co-founded the league with me, and a really unruly player towards the last 3 seasons of my career. And it turns out that I think the vulnerability and untethered access that we showed is what you'll see as a viewer if you haven't seen it yet, and maybe appreciate it. So we're looking to unlock more of that as the seasons go on.
I was just very impressed by the resiliency and the perseverance you and your brother Mike showed throughout it all, because it was a long journey to get to this point. So you should feel very good about your own self, because this is a great product and we're happy to give it to you here on ABC. Fate of a Sport, powered by Ticketmaster, highlights Paul Rabel and his brother Mike's journey to navigate through a global pandemic to establish the PLL as the premier destination for professional lacrosse in the country. The documentary is streaming now on ESPN+. This Thursday at 7 p.m. You can watch it on ESPN. Then next Sunday at 1 Eastern, it airs on ABC leading into the PLL championship game. Whips have a 6-4 lead over the Waterdogs here at Audi Field. Paul and I will be back next half. See you then.
BC, 6-4 our score. Whipsnakes on top of Waterdogs as we prepare to begin the second half. Take a look at our halftime stats. How about the shots right there? Whips with 21 to a 14 advantage. 15-9 on shots on goal. Turnovers roughly even. Face-offs that you don't see there. Withers was 5 of 12. So as you would expect, Whipsnakes with the advantage there at the face-off.
I think you look at those turnovers, right? Of the Waterdogs, 10 turnovers, 8 have been caused. That to your point about the double teams coming. Meanwhile, Whipsnakes, bulk of theirs weren't caused to just sloppy play.
Easier to clean up.
Here we go in the second half. Opportunity that time for Withers. Can't get the draw, but a quick goal. 8 seconds in, Clark.
I tweeted last week, there's not a more well-rounded midfielder on the planet than that guy right there, Zach Currier. He does everything. He can play man down. He can play defense, wings on face-offs. And if you give him opportunities in transition, off of ground balls, he's exceptional in terms of playing in traffic and with contact. There he gets the ground ball. He's the best non-face-off ground ball player in the league, and that's where he can capitalize, Ryan.
And I like the adjustment the Waterdogs have made. They're putting him on the draw side with Warner, the other short stick. The bulk of the first half, he was matched up head-to-head with Earhart.
Yeah, you got to put him in spots where he can contest any 50-50 ground ball.
Withers has it taken away. Battle for the loose ball. Ty Warner, really nice job. Boy, he got wrapped, and that's going to be a call against Waterdogs.
That's Withers. That's a tough spot for Withers.
Fouls on Waterdogs, number 18. 30-second technical, hold.
It's a tough spot for Withers because he actually wins the clamp, and winning the clamp against Nardella is a daunting task, and then he gets the penalty. So you lose the possession, you win the draw, you lose the possession, and then you get the foul.
Yeah, gotta imagine a little bit of frustration there. Trying to earn that ball back.
30-second power play for the Whipsnakes. Chuck just camped out here on the near side. There he is, number 1. Zed back up to him. Now the skip pass to the far side. Behind the back, Carlson couldn't handle the pass from Rambo, but retracts it down. Chuck, he'll fire from distance, too high.
Whipsnakes just a little off the mark.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Carlson gets paid for, right?
That and the Chanatuck shot, which sailed high.
Ward saw that one all the way, but lost it. They're going to get an interference call on this, though. Maybe.
Yeah, it should be a flag, though, because Ward had the ball.
That's right. Now the flag comes out.
32, right? Foul on the play, Whipsnakes, number 32. 30-second technical, interference with the goalie.
Potential 2-goal swing here. You go on the power play with Whipsnakes. You come up empty. Just an undisciplined play here at the end of this possession. You understand what Carlson was trying to do, but now you fast forward and Waterdogs, they go on the power play.
Yeah, when a goalie possesses the ball inside the crease area, that's a no-go. Watch Connor Kelly, 40 in purple, leads the league in 2-pointers, so he's a threat from the arc.
Whipsnakes being very aggressive, man down defensively. There he is, 40. Walker can shoot McCardle. Kelly didn't have a very good angle. Here's Sowers up top. Now the skip. Kelly will shoot. Bernlor goes up to make the save. Should get us back to even strength.
Watch Bernlor on tape this year. He lets up very few shots that he shouldn't, right? He's been so steady tracking those bombs.
Inside of Carlson, Ward with the save. They'll let him play on.
Waterdogs can run here.
Burns. That's the Napoli. Warner comes on, screaming fast, number 5. Progressive game flow in the box on the left.
Jay Carlson inside. Dylan Ward matching sticks.
Dunn got a piece of that one before it got into the goal. Dana Boyle, what's up?
I had a chance to talk to Coach Copeland at the half, and he said, we haven't really been able to find our rhythm offensively, and you saw it there. They're moving the ball, and he's like, we're playing with 6.5 players. Sauer's got a bum hamstring, but they've got to find more from their midfielders. You saw it there with Zach Courier. So more ball movement, use the skip passes, and you got to move the Whips defense because they're so good at tracking.
All right, thank you, DB. Adjusting the shot clock, getting it down to 21 seconds.
21.
Matty Palin, that voice you hear, our referee, we got him mic'd up today.
Higher, higher, higher.
Cardle can't get free. Hannah, nowhere near the mark. Stays with Waterdogs, though, as McCardle wins the race to the ball as it goes out of bounds. Only 4 to shoot, though. This is going to have to be quick. Now we get the reset, and McCardle's just going to shoot it over to the far corner, so Waterdogs can substitute defensively.
Basically punting on the bulk of the rest of that possession. That way they can get defensive personnel on the field, set them up for success on the other side.
Smith clears it. Beat his defender. Oh, thought about firing with that left. Instead,
You guys gotta
he's
clean
going to
that
work on the
DNF,
shorty.
Zach. Gotta clean that for me. Guys, yeah, they gotta look good. Gotta look good.
Always got to look good, Matty. Rambo's looked good the last 3 games. He has 9 goals in his last 3 games. He really has come on, but a nice defensive job that time to check the break Rambo's stick. Eli Goldbricht now gets the Waterdogs running. He'll get a shot here, and Burnmore makes the save.
Biggest save of the day so far for Burnmore, right on the doorstep.
Chanonchuk spins out of trouble in the middle of the field.
Yeah, Rambo broke his stick. He had to go to the sideline. He's not in here, but both goalies in terms of tracking shots today, those inside saves, incredible. Here's the check by Goldberg. Look at that check. That is just such fundamentally sound defense. 2 hands on the stick, and then Burnmore robs Eli.
Wow, and then we got a push back here, loose ball push. Chanonchuk dropped his stick with the ball in it, tried to pick it up, and then looked like that might have been Witcher who was guilty of the loose ball push. Possession back to Whipsnakes. Tough break for the Waterdogs. Double comes Witcher on Zed. Good ball movement. Chanonchuk high.
Ready to go here?
Here's Reed. Trying to work on Richer upfield. Takes a shot. Ward is there low. Stays with the Whips, though.
Long possession here, so hard to defend. Whipsnakes are actually going to substitute a fresh body, fresh midfielder coming out of the box. Here comes Jacoboys.
Clean that corner. Don't make me pay attention to this.
So that's Rambo.
Yeah, Rambo coming back on with a fresh stick, and he scores! Fresh stick, fresh legs, fresh stick.
Fresh stick, fresh legs, brute force. Total gamer. Loves the bright lights of the playoffs, Ryan. Matt Rambo built for these moments.
It didn't take him long once he got back on the field. Good identification by Whipsnakes. Get the ball to Rambo. He goes underneath, a little pick by Reed to help him gain leverage, and then he takes off. He's on the board, and they got things cooking.
the 21st anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, we remember Wells Crowther, a former lacrosse player at Boston College. Crowther was working as an equities trader in the South Tower of the World Trade Center when United Airlines Flight 175 struck the tower. Trained as a volunteer firefighter, he assisted others in the attack and was seen wearing his signature red bandana as he helped save as many as 18 lives. Wall's mother, Allison, is in attendance today and handed out 1,000 red bandanas to fans before the game, spoke to the players in the locker room pregame, and addressed the crowd at halftime. What a moment here in our nation's capital on 9/11.
Yeah, his mother, Allison, keeping the legacy strong and alive. And I've worked the red bandana game up in Boston College. They do that once a year in football season. It's a moving experience. And when you talk to people who knew Wells, teammates like Kevin McLean from Boston College, the ultimate selfless teammate he was on and off the field, and what he did on 9/11 epitomizes his approach to life and helping others.
Think about so many of the, those that we lost on 9/11 and some lacrosse greats, whether it's Eamon McEnany or Dennis Buckley, who played at Maryland. And you think about how important lacrosse is to Long Island and New Jersey and upstate New York, and so many people, first responders that played lacrosse in high school, played in college, and had kids who played lacrosse. It's just a big part of that community, and so it certainly is important to never forget what happened on 9/11. 7-5 our score here, 2-goal lead for Whipsnakes. They've kind of had it right in that 2-goal part, haven't been able to break free from that. They put the pressure on Waterdogs all second half long and just trying to extend it. Now with possession, Zed, just so big and strong and powerful, has the ball knocked away though. Chanenchuk tried that low shot. The turf is still wet here, and so it's slick. So sometimes, RB, I know that low shot can get a little topspin to it and a different spin.
It almost picks up speed as it goes along because it doesn't hop up as much. It's really tough for a goalie to read as that velocity increases, and then the height, it stays low.
You ever throw rocks on a pond when
Yeah,
you're a
just
kid?
skips. Well, we saw a bunch of the Whipsnakes before the game warming up out here, before the teams came out, just to try and get a feel for how that water on the slick surface of the turf would affect those low shots. Walker. Oh, he doesn't need a low shot. Just rips it by Burnlord.
About 3 years ago, I went out to Denver to spend time with Ethan Walker. The main focus was his shooting because it's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, and this is a beautiful read. Here's the defender that's going to get kind of caught up. As Jack Hanna goes to the cage, they're going to get a skip pass through the defense and then a rotation. So you see that skip pass right here by Hanna, the rotation, and there's just nothing behind the play. Beautiful identification there by McCardle after catching that pass, realizing he's got one more to Walker, who has just gorgeous placement on that shot.
His wrists are a thing of beauty, and if you look at his goal in the second quarter, from that same release point, he went high. This time he went mid-cage, and when I spent the time with him, that's what I was so impressed with, his ability to change levels from the same release point.
Now off the face-off win from Withers. Can Courier get another quick one?
They love the early offense off face-off wins.
Got back to his left. Couldn't get that shot to goal.
The big question I have for the Waterdogs, can Michael Sowers find some energy and strength with that bummed hamstring to get things going? He had 3 goals in the first half.
Right, very quickly.
Very quickly.
And we haven't called his name the whole second half.
No, he's obviously in pain. He's obviously hurt. But they need him to win this game.
Zed. Now behind the goal. Over to Reed. Jackaboys. Rambo. Swim move. He shoots.
Heads up.
Man, that was high off the netting.
I think that cleared the netting and went into the stands.
Bounced off a seat here at Audi Field. Reed. Great in tight spaces. Tried to get it to Chanenchuk. Couldn't, though, but tracked down.
It's a heads-up play there by Brad Smith just to kind of sail it. Technically, that's still a shot. Whipsnakes were closest to the ball, they'll just kill this clock, but they'll get their defensive personnel behind the play.
You're right, just 1 second left on the clock when that one went out of bounds. So Rambo just dumps it in the corner. Now they'll look to ride, get their defensive personnel on the field. Waterdogs look to set things up on the other end. Here's Conrad.
He's been quiet. 3 goals a week ago. They beat the Atlas. His offensive emergence has been critical second half of the season, and 15 in purple. No sign of offense today.
McCardle, tough angle. Bernlohr made the save, stays with Waterdogs. Fresh shot clock. Back up to Conrad. Now to McCardle. He'll look to dodge. Inside, that was a pass. Bernlohr had to readjust to it and make the save.
Now, I mentioned earlier, Michael Sauer's presence in this second half is huge. And Kieran McCardle, who's second in the league in points behind Lyle Thompson. Offensively, we have not felt his presence.
And that's a situation where I think he needs to be more aggressive going for his own shot before looking to feed.
Yeah, gets a short stick.
Garpello makes the initial check and then chased after it. Here's Smith, though. Stays with Whips. Just got his hands free, but not enough. Carlson, too far away from the goal. Shannonchuk. He'll fire. Ward, no problem. Big loose ball, though. DiNapoli giving chase. Can't squeeze it. Brad Smith does, though. Fresh shot clock, too, for the Whip. So this is going to be a long defensive possession unless they score, and Carlson can't bury it.
A fresh shot clock against a gas defense. Dylan Ward had to make that save. If you're the Waterdogs, you need to possess the ball and give this defense a little break.
Courier's going to do just that. Pull it back out, get the substitution patterns work to their fullest. Which includes players like Ryan Conrad, who has the ball in his cross right now. Sauer's now back at X, but Conrad gets free and scores.
3 goals in the big upset win against the Atlas. Quiet in the first half. Your star, Michael Sauers, nursing the hamstring, Ryan. It's time to step up.
And he goes to the invert. He goes behind the cage. This is something we've seen more and more from the Waterdogs offensively, and he just wins the one-on-one matchup against Warner. You know, Conrad is such an incredible athlete. He runs through that stick check and hold, and Whipsnakes just aren't organized behind the play to support. They trust Warner on ball here.
Yeah, Warner's one of the best short stick defensive midfielders in the world, but Conrad, an elite athlete. Look at the placement on a lefty goalie hitting that near pipe.
7 apiece. As we reach the final minute of this third quarter. Battle for it in the middle of the field. Get a loose ball push. It's going to go to the Waterdogs. A bit of momentum now for the guys in purple.
You know, the crazy thing for me, even though Michael Sauers is hurt, he's occupying Dunn, the top cover guy for the Whipsnakes. So his presence on the field, hurt or not, gives space for the rest of these Waterdogs to get into the action.
Dunn comes over and helps on the slide. No chance. I mean, Hannah was just abused, and the abuse continues as the final horn sounds. Physical play to end this third quarter. Andy Copeland and his Waterdogs taking a little of that momentum back from Coach Staggs and the Whipsnakes. All tied at 7 apiece, 1 quarter left to go, and maybe more before we find out who's playing for the PLL championship next week. Courier quickly off the face-off. Physical play. Broken sticks. Maybe broken hearts in 1 quarter's time. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. here in DC for our PLL semifinals. As we look at our Cash App playoff bracket, quarters last weekend, 3 teams advanced, with the Whipsnakes a bye last weekend being the #1 overall seed. But Chaos Archers and Waterdogs advanced. Chaos and Archers coming your way at 3:30 on ESPN+. We've got a battle here between the Whips, who won 2 of the first 3 championships in league history, and the Waterdogs looking for their very first. PLL on ESPN is powered by Ticketmaster, and we've got 1 quarter left to go to find out who will be one of the 2 teams left standing in the championship game next Sunday in Philadelphia.
And you just had the feeling after last weekend, all those games being blowouts, and these 2 teams, both of their regular season being close games, like no surprise for this to be such a tight one.
This is in the Whips DNA, right? I mean, this is what they've built their success off of.
Ward right in his breadbasket, making the save to start this 4th quarter. Waterdogs want to run.
They'll have numbers here.
Scarpello. Sowers. Sowers was cutting. Look how much done. 33 towers over 22 in purple. Look at him right there on the crease.
Yeah, but 22 in purple is the
Slick.
heart of a lion.
Yeah.
He will not back down from any matchup.
Hey, DB, what's up?
You guys were talking about Sowers up there in the booth. I loved what Kark said about occupying his defender. His name came up multiple times in that Whipsnakes defensive huddle. They're still talking about him. If you're a defender, you got to have your head on a swivel because he's creating offense for other Waterdogs players. Got to watch out for him, even though if he isn't getting those G notes in.
Yeah, precisely. Because generational talents like Michael Sowers, he's been shut off his entire career. He has to find ways to beat a defense off the ball, helping teammates in terms of facilitating spatial awareness. Michael Sowers, jack of all trades.
Rambo, look at that goal!
He uses a slam pick, another pick by Jay Carlson, a long goal line extended. Waterdogs try to navigate through it, but on the switch, are we switching or are we not? He gains leverage on Randall and somehow whips his body around to put enough steam behind it.
Took a slash too right at the end of it. Still was able to beat Ward. Mentioned Rambo. All the 1-goal games. I mean, 4 of their first 6 wins on the year were by 1 goal. And the Whipsnakes are 9-1 on the year, right? So early in the year, they were winning 1-goal games. Kark, you and I were in Denver when Rambo had 4 goals in that game. It was a 2-goal win over the Archers, but that's really when they started to find their stride, isn't it?
Championship pedigree. Matt Rambo won the Tewarton in 2017 at Maryland. His game has always been defined at producing when the lights are brightest. The #1 recruit in the country when he's in high school. A Tewarton winner, Heisman Trophy of college lacrosse. Won that national title. Took that home in 2017. This is what he's built for. His competitive fire nature is not normal.
Point blank shot, and Ward had to make the save, and he made it. Keep this a 1-goal game. Now Sowers up top, looking to dodge. On Dunn. Dunn forces him behind the cage, but that leaves an open player. And it's Kieran McCardle on the far side.
I call him a jack of all trades because Dana Boyle mentioned he can occupy the space inside as a finisher off ball. You know about his dodging and scoring ability with 3 goals in the first half. This is a next level pass, Ryan.
And this is beautiful. Sowers is going to go underneath, and what you're going to get is a little slide here, and then McCardle drifts upfield, and Sowers leads him to that spot. So beautiful dodge by Sowers, identification, that little hedge or help by Young, and McCardle cuts right behind the play. Incredible 2-man action between those 2 dynamos.
Bryce Young, 41 in red, should not have hedged. Matt Dunn wasn't beat. He created offense by hedging early.
Earhart wins the battle for the loose ball.
what I love about that dodge by Sowers, like high reward, low risk, right? He's just probing to see if he can gain any sort of advantage, and Young just affords that.
Zed uses that power and strength. Give the Whips the lead back.
You have two immovable forces on the Whipsnakes. On the left side, you have Matt Rambo. What did he do on his last goal? Shot through pressure. Well, the right-handed version of this is Zed Williams. He's 6'3", 240 pounds, built of steel. Just runs through checks like it's nobody's business. And if you don't show there and contest the shot, that's just too easy.
And it's another pick set by Jay Carlson. So you're seeing the impact of Carlson, even though it's not on the stat sheet, taking that short stick and setting picks for his running mates, most notably Williams there.
I talked to Mike Chanichuk before the game on the field, and I said having Jay Carlson in my mind changes your offense because of everything he does space-wise, right? Like he sets picks, he finishes, you know he could score, but it's what he does to help teammates out and facilitating their dodges by just those little subtle picks.
Loose ball infraction against Withers on the faceoff. Smith.
Here it comes again.
Same play that he scored just moments ago. Now he passes back up top. Extra pass. Score! Brad Smith getting involved.
And it's set up by Rambo. He scores on the previous dodge, so you've got to respect it. You got to support, and this is when he says hitting singles, this is what it means. He's going to draw the double team, and instead of making the home run play, he just makes the easy adjacent pass.
Matt, why are you built for these moments? I've been watching you play a long time.
Just hitting singles. My boys are helping us out. Our defense is crushing it. We're fucking ready.
When you weren't hitting singles, you were creating offense on your own. Where are you finding those seams matchup-wise one-on-one?
We're throwing a pick behind with a shorty. And let's go. We're getting a matchup. They're doubling there. Double. We got someone open. Move the ball hitting singles.
It's probably the new stick you picked up when you broke the other one.
It was a shaft.
Man, he's fighting hard. Sun Clarella powering athletes under the helmet like Rambo. 10-8, Whipsnakes on top. Join us for the World Lacrosse Championship next summer and the June in San Diego, California. More than 100 games on ESPN+, 6 games on either ESPN, ESPN2, or ESPNU. We will be there. That is going to be a lot of fun. And it'll be 5 years in between World Championships because of COVID. They pushed it out another year and moved it to San Diego, so we're all fired up about that. And, you know, Team USA, Team Canada had an unbelievable battle in the championship game in Netanya, Israel, where Team USA won in the final second, breaking the hearts of the Canadians. You know they're fired up for revenge.
Did you like that timeout, Kark? I mean, 2 goals in the last 40 seconds or so. It's like a little bit of danger zone, but you kind of want to have that extra one in your back pocket kind of going down late. Did you like that timeout?
You know, I think you do. And the reason why I say that is because the Whipsnakes are built for the fourth quarter. Like, they can close on teams. And I think Andy Copeland thinks, like, if I don't do something right now, they're going to close this game on us.
8.5 left to go. The lead is 2 for the Whipsnakes. Looking to get back to the championship game for the 4th time in 4 years in this league's history. We also have one of the top 2 really one of the top 2 face-off guys in the league.
This is a huge defensive possession for Waterdogs.
Chanichuk, a little 2-man game with Rambo behind the cage. Cole Near side to Smith. Carlson couldn't handle it. Dunn keeps it on that side of the field, though. Prevent the over and back. Cole can't spin his way to freedom. Rambo on Randall. These two so familiar with each other. Ward made the save. Now Dogs are going to want to run. Scarpello.
I think you have to understand offensively, all the attention is drawn when 22 in purple Sowers has the ball. He's going to make the right progressions in terms of finding teammates, and he attracts so much in terms of the others hedging to him.
Has a bum wheel, bad hamstring, but he's in there fighting. Connor Kelly just trying to get free. He can fire from a long way out. Leads the league in 2-point goals. Instead, he passes at goal line extended, and the Waterdogs get one back.
What a pass. When you're a stretch shooter in any sport, a Steph Curry, a guy who can drop it from deep, all the attention comes to the top side of the field in the offensive set. Where is the opportunities? Down low in the skip. And if you find the skip, it's a thing of beauty, Ryan.
And Connor Kelly runs away from that double team. That allows him to get his hands free. You can see Muller trying to recover to McCardle. The catch and beautiful placement there by McCardle.
Well, we got 6:51 left in the fourth quarter here, so you know Andy Towers has already started his pregame speech for Chaos. They're coming up next against Archers. That's going to be a heck of a game. Looking forward to that one on ESPN+. Greg Erinlian, heck of a face-off man himself, put out a poll as to who everybody thinks is going to be in the championship game. Here's our winner right here, Archers and Whips.
Don't sleep on the Chaos. They're 2-8. They were the last team in the playoffs, but when we spoke to Andy Towers this week, you know what he said? The regular season is for kids.
And it has been for him. Really, for the third straight year, they didn't really do much in the regular season. They were 2-8 in the regular season. Courier, he'll shoot. Bernlohr made the save. 2-8 in the regular season, and here they are in the semifinals. Once again, they won it all last year.
Courier makes the initial ground ball shot, gets up, recovers, and gets another ground ball. He's otherworldly.
Huge possession, too.
You'd be hard-pressed to find in the history of the sport, I know this sounds crazy, a more versatile midfielder. Literally does everything.
They had Withers on the field for a long time. He finally subs out. That allows Conrad to come on that midfield spot. McCardle. Bernlohr forced to make the save. Both goaltenders have really been good today.
He had the look there. He's going to want that one back.
Great stick protection to even get that shot off.
Now Jake Bernhardt, he'll sub out. Brad Smith.
How do the Waterdogs play the pick game against the Whipsnakes? The Whipsnakes have been able to drop some picks in different spots in the offensive set. Whether it's Zed Williams and Jay Carlson or picking for Matt Rambo, they're a step too late against the pick game of the Whips.
And they've been short-sitting Carlson. On this possession, they put a long pole on him.
Smith just can't get a shot off. Maybe got a little bit too greedy trying to get to the middle of the field. Scarpello. Sowers, he shoots. Deflected in front of the goal. Bernlor comes out to get it. Now in a desperation over his shoulder, but it ends up in Dunn's stick. We got an injured Waterdog on the field too. All kinds of chaos. Rambo inside. Ball still loose. Collisions, goal line extended. Ward goes down. What action. Now we finally get a stoppage.
Got McCardle on one end.
We got, looks like DiNapoli on this end. So we got a D-Mitty DiNapoli hurt here. You got Kieran McCardle limping behind the goal on the far side. And already banged up Waterdogs are hurt even more now. There's McCardle. Sowers has a bum hammy. Copeland's going to have to figure something out in the final 4.5 here.
Looks like DiNapoli is suffering from some cramps.
And even Ward. I mean, Ward has a season-high 16 saves in this game. He's been very active. And on that play, just out of desperation to pick up that loose ball, he's shaken up a little bit.
DiNapoli's playing defense here. You don't see much, and then he comes up limping after that last push on Brad Smith. When you cover this league, you see the effort, the sense of urgency. This has been a summer to remember. These games, 10-9, this is par for the course.
Every game seemingly a one-goal game. And remember, the Waterdogs are already without Mikey Schlosser, who went out early in this game.
Ward's helmet, they're working on Ward's helmet. That's what they're working on. He's taken enough shots off that helmet today. There's DiNapoli. Gonna be helped off the field. There's Schlosser right now. Started this game for the Waterdogs. Now he's in crutches.
Emptying the tank. 8 teams in the PLL. It's a tour-based league. 4 remaining. 1 can punch their ticket to the Cash App Championship next week in Philly, and they're feeling it.
Coach Stagnita trying to get back. Coach Copeland trying to win his first. Got to get there first, having a word with Michael Sowers. He scored 3 goals right off the jump today. Then had a hammy that tweaked him a little bit. He hasn't been the same since, but he's still been big-time distraction for that Whipsnakes defense.
The only positive of this is they've played undermanned before. We mentioned Fairfield, 100 degrees, middle of July, down to 14 guys. So they've been in these scenarios, and they are deep at the short stick defensive position, where DiNapoli just exited the field. You could even put Ryan Conrad there, who's on the bench. So there is some depth there.
Down a goal, final 4.5. Zed. It's been so deadly coming up the field today. Double team comes now over to Rambo. Little 2-man game with Cole. Inside, Carlson can't beat Ward.
It was great help there by Liam Burns to come over and support as the second slide on the interior. He got a stick check on Carlson to disrupt that a little bit.
Progressive game flow.
Yeah, you
Witcher scores! How about that for defensive midfield depth? Get a goal from number 33.
Probably the last guy on this field, if you had to make a bet, would score this goal.
But he has had timely moments like this in the past, but the short answer is yes. With everybody around the field, who do I have to pay attention to? Who do I have to worry about? This guy's last on the drop-down menu. He knows that. He just takes Smith to the middle of the cage. Squires actually comes to slide. Waterdogs were substituting behind the play. This is one of those, no. Yes!
The reaction. It's the summer of 2022, and we're tied late in the fourth quarter for another PLL Classic.
Witcher's first goal of the year, and it couldn't have come at a better time for the Dogs. Bodies flying around in the middle of the field. Huge possession. Timeout. So Withers got possession, and Copeland called a quick timeout. .334, tied at 10, possession to the Waterdogs. We're in a timeout. Let's go inside the huddle presented by Athletic Brewing Company and listen in.
Right where we want to be.
In? Okay.
I'll take that hurt. I was pulling further away from
Okay. RC, I'm going to keep you out here. 1, 2, 3. We good here?
Yeah.
He gets Earhart. Let's go.
Uno? Sorry? You want to go Uno? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Love it. Right in. Yeah. Listen, let's go off a little bit, play. We got a full 52 here, and then if we can go into Uno here like 25 seconds. Good here?
Yeah.
Good? Hey, just have a great, confident possession here. I'm out of timeouts here too. Okay? Let's go here, boys. 0-on-3, 1, 2, 3.
Uno is their single invert look. So I would expect them to kind of play their typical offense, and then if they don't generate anything early, you heard him, about 25 seconds left, expect a midfielder on a short stick behind the cage. That's the Uno look that was referenced.
The Whipsnakes have 4 long sticks out there. The Waterdogs will attack one of the 2 short sticks in this 6-on-6 set. The Whips have 1 loss on the season. It's to these Waterdogs. If one team in this league believes they can capture this moment and get the W, it's the guys in purple.
Final score of that game was 11-10 in Minneapolis at about the midway point of the season. Kelly shut off by one of those short sticks. Bernhardt, now he gets free. Can't get it on goal, though. We'll get it in the crease against him, and it'll go to the Whipsnakes. It's a big call. Six ties, 5 lead changes in this game, and it's going right down to the wire. Stags wants a timeout. So we've ticked under 3 minutes to play. Rambo is giving everything he's got. The Dogs are undermanned. Everybody's banged up, but they know they've got 3 minutes to somehow find a way to get the winning margin and to advance to next Sunday's championship game in Philadelphia. Let's go inside the huddle presented by Athletic Brewing Company. Stags, what do you got?
All right, give me you, Reed, and Sandy. All right, let's set up in our 21. Let's get the ball behind to Matt. You're gonna set the pick behind. Make sure you're set. Okay, and if they go with him, or you can Maverick, just pop. All right, let's make sure we got space, and then we're cutting. Do not stand outside. All right, don't stand outside the 2. All right, let's make sure we're working hard off the ball. All right, let's get one here.
Jim Stagnita, the head coach of the Whipsnakes. Dana, you were in the Waterdogs huddle. What'd you hear there?
The biggest point of emphasis was fighting through the pick. That's something that they didn't want to do in practice this week, but this is a game where you have to adjust. So fight through the pick, and you've got to get on your man. You got to get in the hands of the offense of the Whips because they're talented.
Spot on. The Achilles heel for the Waterdogs defense is defending the picks.
Yeah, they want to try to stay on that matchup as opposed to switching a short stick on Rambo. They want to keep Randall, their top cover guy, on that matchup. Can they navigate it is the real issue here. Can you execute?
Rambo, now he got the shorty on him, went back to Randall. Back to his right, high shot, heads up. Head on a swivel. Whipsnakes will look to put it back into play quickly. This time it's Zed. That's what he wants to do. Using that right coming upfield jump shot. Bouncer didn't get much on it. Battle to race for the end line, and it's won by the Waterdogs.
That's huge, because the Whipsnakes are the best in the league at the runouts, getting those kind of possessions.
Scarpello, he'll bring it into the offensive end.
No timeouts for Waterdogs.
Ryan Conrad as we tick under 2 minutes. Working on Bernhardt. To collide not once but twice. Bernhardt dumps him, no call. Kelly. On a short stick himself, that's Warner. Tough angle though, Warner doing a great job. Great catch behind the cage. Shot score! Ricardo!
Wow! Schlosser fields it. Waterdog Nation rise.
And it's all set up by the lone Terp, Connor Kelly. On the Waterdogs, he's able to draw a double team, makes the easy pass in front to Walker. Great handle and look back to McCardle, who buries it, and he has never made the championship game, and you can sense that he feels this.
The story for me in the fourth quarter. The league's leading two-point man, Connor Kelly, became a passer in this fourth quarter. 2 incredible passes have dictated their success offensively.
And the league leader in assists, McCardle's got a hat trick in the fourth.
They flipped the script.
In his 9th year out of St. John's, McCardle looking for that elusive championship. He's a minute and a half away from getting to the championship game. But the Whipsnakes, they've been to that championship game every year. They aren't going to go away quietly. Janenchuk on the shorty. He'll shoot. Ward. That's 17 saves for Ward. Stays with Rambo and Whipsnakes. Rambo, pass high.
Kind of surprised the Whipsnakes didn't use a timeout at all in that possession.
5-second differential between shot clock and game clock, but McCardle's going to be in no hurry. The Whip's got to press out to him, though. They can't afford to let this shot clock run all the way down.
And Waterdogs, if they get in trouble, they don't have a timeout to bail them out.
Great point. And they do get in trouble, and it's a turnover. And another turnover back to the Dogs. Now they'll have a fresh shot clock, and they can wind it all the way down. If they can keep possession. Wild scene in the middle of the field, and Conrad came out of there with it first, but then he loses his stick at the ball. Whipsnakes have it. Now they get the timeout with 11 seconds left to go, 10 to be exact.
And Williams, he wanted to go there. There was a little bit of confusion for Waterdogs defensively.
Wow.
He kind of sensed an opportunity there.
And sometimes the easiest spots to dodge are on unsettled situations. The Waterdogs were not in a position to get into their base defense where there's a slide rotation to help that matchup.
And they had all their offensive personnel trying to run back.
Inside the Huddle, presented by Athletic Brewing Company.
Dad, you're right.
Playing really high on my right side, so it might be easier to go left. You want me to set it, get high, and I'll set it here, and you can get underneath? Yeah, sure.
Well, you want to set it for swing
Like, we need to have an option here.
I'm going to make this pretty simple. Give the ball to Matt Rambo. He's built for these moments. I've watched him since he's in high school. Close out games. He wants the ball in these pressure spots. 2019, the tying goal, the winning goal in the PLL championship.
But Paul, where the ball is set up right now with only 10 seconds left, hard to get that all the way over to him. And that's not really his sweet spot from where he dodges.
It isn't, but he could go behind the cage with a quick pass to X.
They've added some time. It's 11.7. He's near side, goal line extended, number 9.
I expect them to pick for him to get the ball.
Shannon now setting a pick. Shannon might have to let it rip. He does. Wide. Stays with Whipsnakes. 2.6. They're going to have to go quickly. Inside. Can't get it to go. And the Waterdogs get the W in advance to next Sunday's PLL championship game in Philadelphia. For the first time in league history, the Whipsnakes will not be playing for the title.
Whipsnakes tried to set up something for Rambo. They kind of picked off ball for him. He came around, thought they had him for a split second. The timing might have been a little bit off there.
The Whips have been the standard in this league. The Waterdogs take down the Giant. And I don't care where Matt Rambo is on the field. With 11 seconds left, I want the ball in his stick. He's a playmaker. For him not to touch the ball in that last possession, it feels empty to me.
It's always kind of a philosophical debate. Do you start the ball with your best player in his stick, or do you try to get him the ball after some initial action?
You're only guaranteed to give him the ball with 11 seconds left in the game if he starts with the ball.
Time now for our Cash App goal of the game. And why not? With Sowers banged up, he's got the hammy. You turn to Kieran McCardle.
Kieran McCardle, the veteran, never made it to championship. A fourth quarter hat trick. He stepped up the biggest stage. It was set up by the lone Terp on the Waterdogs, Connor Kelly. 2 huge plays in the fourth quarter, drawing double teams and making smart feeds afterwards.
That was our Cash App goal of the game. Get the free cash card by Visa today for instant discounts at your favorite retailers. The Cash App bracket, here it is. Waterdogs advance the 5 seed. They'll play for the title next Sunday on ESPN at 3 o'clock, or on ABC rather, 3 o'clock. Meanwhile, we've still got Chaos and Archers to fill out that other spot on that bracket coming your way at 3:30 on ESPN+. What a game. Our final score, Waterdogs win 11-10. They advance to the championship. Let's head to the WNBA Finals. Connecticut Sun and Las Vegas Aces. For Kark, Boyle, and Boyle, I'm Connor. So long for now.